It's becoming clear that soon, AI will be able to simulate virtual worlds with pixel-perfect precision. It already appears that AI can outperform humans in various specialized tasks. And I'm not just meaning chess or Minecraft, but also at most knowledge worker and specialized tasks like written exams, making music, analyzing data, reading and summarizing written content. As I've said in previous episodes, I think that unleashing AI agents across the open internet will revolutionize our current understanding of the economy. And I'm starting to think that if we try to compete with AI on its terms, we will probably lose. For some reason, the main focus and fear is currently on replacing human labour. The headlines which people focus on are increases in productivity, because AI is going to enable us to work even more quickly than we already do. And for anyone who's working right now, that is a scary, scary thought. But today, I want you to think about where these advances in AI might allow us to be a bit slower, a bit more considered, a bit more deliberate, and spend time being a bit more human. If you want to take back control from artificial algorithmic automation, we need to give some thought to what we're taking back control over. It's not about the tasks in our day jobs. It's about autonomy, our agency, and ultimately our anatomy. I think being human is the biggest advantage we have, and it shouldn't be seen as being a weakness. Welcome back to Tech Back Control. Sorry it's been such a long hiatus. This is the start of year 2 for this personal project. My goal has always been to explore the technology that can rebalance things and put power back into the hands of the people. And today I'm exploring what it means to be a bit more human in a world where AI is beating us at what we thought we were good at. So let's begin. What does it mean to be more human? We talk about the latest AI frontier models as being a black box. No one really understands how they work. Researchers are divided on the causes of the so-called emergent behaviour they exhibit. Psychologists and neuroscientists are curious about the way these AI beings think or reason or perform logical tasks by figuring it out themselves. And then you have anthropologists who study AI agents interacting with each other, forming societies and engaging in group behaviour. I think our fascination with AI isn't just about productivity and business value. Sure, a lot has been made about disruption to the labour force and our jobs, and that definitely is true. But once we get past that immediate fear, I think our curiosity peaks as we see a reflection of ourselves in this algorithmic mirror. I believe that finding a future with AI isn't really about understanding it. It's about understanding what it means to be human. All that AI emergent behaviour, its stunning creativity, its vast intellect, its cutting wit, its misleading and often hilarious hallucinations, its unconscious bias and bold overconfidence. It's there because it's a reflection of ourselves. I think we find it so remarkable because we don't really know ourselves very well at all. Tell me, how much do you really understand about what it means to be human? For instance, do you know why we sleep? AI doesn't sleep. Not yet, anyway. Sleep repairs the body and the brain. It organises and securely stores our memories. It clears toxins from the brain and enhances our problem-solving abilities. Sleep is the original superpower, and all the latest research about how important and powerful it might be will make you wonder if you're getting enough. What about mindfulness? And I'm not talking about the policy focus in your company on mental health and well-being. That is important, but have you ever understood what it means to allow yourself to really get bored? It's difficult. Our lives are so busy. It's uncomfortable feeling bored these days because there is so much stimulus in the world. But the latest research suggests that letting your mind get bored and wonder can increase productivity and creativity. Boredom kind of activates the amygdala and prefrontal cortex, and the amygdala is associated with strong emotions, while the prefrontal cortex is involved in planning and decision making. And when you get bored, these brain areas work together to seek new stimulation. Your brain basically goes on the hunt for novel ideas and different scenery to keep you stimulated, and that is what creativity ends up looking like. So let yourself get bored. Take time away from just everything and see what happens. Speaking of our brains, How much do you think we really understand about our brains? The average human brain has 86 billion neurons, which, when you compare it to computer transistors, doesn't seem like that much, but each one can create thousands of synaptic connections with other neurons, meaning your brain in theory can create a quadrillion, which is 10 to the 15, possible connections between its different neurons. What's more, recent research from the Trinity College Dublin suggested that the human brain might use quantum computation. The axons in your neurons actually behave at a quantum level, they're that small. And whilst this is still very early stage research and somewhat inconclusive, I doubt you are thinking in this podcast that I'd suggest your brain could in fact be a quantum computer. Anyway, whilst we're talking about crazy things we're learning about the human brain, let's talk about psychedelics. They're bad, right? Or maybe our war on drugs in the 1970s onwards defunded some of the most important human research of our lifetime. That science is starting to get going again, piggybacking on the countless studies on meditation and historical and cultural practices learned from using these mind-altering drugs over generations. And I think people now see there's money in it, so the research will keep flowing. But that latest research also shows that psychedelics can significantly alter brain connectivity and help in treating conditions such as depression, PTSD, chronic pain, and anxiety. And no doubt in the next few years, you'll see how those same psychedelic drugs, once frowned upon, can unlock new powers of creativity that we've probably kept dormant for some time. Anyway, zooming out a bit from the brain, and on the topic still of being human, you might think that you are mostly human, right? Wrong. At least by the count of different cells, you're 50% human, 50% bacteria and other microbes. Most of these non-human cells are in your gut, making up your microbiome, or they're on your skin and in your mouth. So we talk a lot about human plus machine and transhumanism in the world of AI, but we are already symbiotic beings. Our microbiome affects our mood, behavior, decisions, and mental and physical performance. So you are already kind of team you, which is you and your 50% bacteria team getting the job done. One area where being more human feels kind of obvious is in our feet and our physical movement. We buy shoes and go to gym and make up for our lethargic and overly soft day jobs. And as a result, most of us have flat, squished feet and develop bunions and other foot, hip, knee and posture problems. And increasingly the research seems to suggest the obvious, which is that we evolved to be barefoot, to run around and to climb and be active, and there are 30 muscles which control movements in each foot, from the feet to the legs. We've become weak and lazy due to our footwear technology and our lifestyle. Yet children and adults in countries where most people grow up barefoot, they don't have flat feet and collapsed arches. This isn't a new discovery. I think we've known this for some time, but fashion and lifestyle tends to dictate things. But in 1960, Ababaye Bikila, the Ethiopian marathon runner, won the Rome Olympic Marathon running without shoes and broke all the world records of the time. So all these barefoot fanatics, they're not saying something new, but maybe something that we should have known just intuitively. Anyway, there's a lot here about being human. I think if we step outside a bit, we'll realise that AI might have us beat on many tasks that we take for granted in our day jobs. But there's a lot more to being human than what the roles and activities are in our current working lives. I think that's important to know. If we start going outside and observing nature, I think we'll discover a lot more as well. There's plenty of research understanding how mycelium networks, which is essentially the root structures of mushrooms, work underground to transport nutrients between plants and even allow them to communicate, like a natural form of the internet. The more I have learned about the natural world and the more I've got outside and made my own little urban garden, the more my eyes have started recognizing things in nature. Each season looks different and I spot things that I never used to know before. They were just green objects, and now just like machine vision with artificial intelligence, I can recognize a lot more happening in the world instantly, intuitively. We're a far more advanced and powerful supercomputer than I think many of us take for granted. Maybe limited by screens and keyboards and mice and the technology of the time that limits our potential to what we can interface with a machine. But maybe we're more, much more than the productivity gains that we can make typing, writing code, clicking mice, and interacting with the current state of technology. I think if we figure that out, this human plus machine AI era may be incredible. It may be a world where we get to be truly human, far more advanced than we realized we could be, but with the AI superpowers which no doubt will make us incredibly advanced in other areas that humans are quite limited in. We'll see. I think there's much more that we're going to discover over the next few decades. I think once many of us have the opportunity to go into space, the overview effect and understanding our place in the universe may give us a newfound purpose and understanding of our responsibility, not just as an interplanetary species, but also as a planetary species, figuring out our role on this world and how we make the most of it. I guess what I'm saying is this: there's a lot to being human. We have barely scratched the surface. Collectively, we know hardly anything about our brains, our symbiotic relationships with our own living bacteria on us, or how that connects to the natural world and its infinite complexity, which we really haven't begun to fully understand. This next phase of human existence can't be defined simply by us competing with AI at generating content and performing tasks which currently have a high economic value. We are so much more than that. If you're interested in learning more, as usual, I'll share all the links to my research in the show notes. If you enjoyed this episode, please like or review on whatever app you're using. This episode was written and produced by me. The theme song is by Jonathan Mann, and the backing soundtracks are from Epidemic Sounds. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you next time.